Happy holidays and welcome to the long-awaited Christmas special in production for not 1 month but one whole year. That's right, the Christmas special that I promised you last year is finally here. And what are we doing? We're talking about the man, the myth, the legend of comedy himself, Judd Apatow, the ruler of the 2000s raunchy comedy. That is who we are discussing today. No, I'm being serious when I say he was the king of comedy of that era. Like, if your favorite movie is from that era of the 2000s, more than likely his production company had involvement in it, or him himself. Now, obviously, this man has made a lot of movies. Look at his IMDb page. It is massive. I am not going to be watching all of that. I will just die and fall into an endless vortex and never make this video because of how daunting it is. So I've narrowed it down to 10 of his finest works. The most memorable, the most acknowledged, the most, just the cream of the crop. The most iconic movies made by him. Now, I'm going to start with Anchorman, made in 2004, and I will be ending at Funny People from 2009. I just thought that being a 2009 movie, I thought it had like a nice cutoff point, you know, before we started moving on from the raunchy comedy. That was like the true last Judd Apatow picture that was like, it was like purely marketed and you knew about it. You knew he was directly involved in it. Before we begin, this is my channel, this is my opinion. If one of these are your favorite movies and I turn out not to like it, don't take offense to it. It's my opinion. Keep enjoying it. I don't want to keep you from enjoying the things you all love. And, spoiler warning, I guess? I mean, these movies are like 10 years old, but I don't know what the time for not needing to give a spoiler warning is, so here it is. Now let's begin with Anchorman.
I look good.
But they don't belong in the newsroom.
I'm Veronica Corningstone.
The answer is yes. I have a nickname for my penis. It's called the Octagon.
Alright, we're starting with Anchorman. Obviously, you know this by now. This is it's like the Sonic 1 of movies, you know? Great when it came out, but like, it's just okay now, you know? Because after this, you just get better and worse with each of these movies. You'll get much higher highs, but you'll get much lower lows. This, in comparison to the rest that we'll be watching throughout this video, it's just alright, you know? There's nothing too egregious about it, there's nothing bad about it, but there's nothing that really blows your mind, you know? Now, I will say that this is definitely more an Adam McKay movie. Like, you'll see what I mean as we go on through this, but this definitely feels like a movie he had a much heavier hand on than Judd did, so I want to just point that out. So maybe that's why it's just okay, because it's just the first big movie for him, you know? And after all, this is kind of the movie that started this whole hierarchy of Judd Apatow. Like, this is the movie that, like, launched it into a new height. Because with this movie, there's a lot more absurd elements to it, you know, like with the animated sequence when they're having sex, or the flute sequence where he's just jumping on tables and then he's just also fucking shooting fire out of his flute and jumping into the stall. You know, this is definitely, it's definitely absurdist, to be sure. And then, of course, there is the reporter duel, the most iconic scene of this movie. You have probably seen it before, either on Fandango or TikTok, with a little bit of Subway Surfers gameplay on the bottom to stimulate the mind. And for good reason, too. This is definitely the highlight of the movie, you know? This is the highest point of insanity, with limbs getting chopped off, people catching on fire, and then Brick just throwing a fucking spear at someone and killing them. Like, come on, it doesn't get much better than that. However, if I were to be honest to myself, I think I like the next scene right after it. Just the sudden cold break from it, just like insanity, run away from the cops, and then just like, oh brother.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
That got intense. You know, just telling Brick to lay low, because it's just like, you killed the guy.
Yeah, I stabbed a man in the heart.
You might want to hide it for a little bit, you know. They're probably looking for you. Ron Burgundy is a pretty swell guy, you know. He's looking for love. He's the head honcho of Channel 6 News, you know. He's our main character, played by Will Ferrell. And he is, of course, by far the best character in the movie. Now, there are very few instances where he's not in the movie, but when he's not, it's a little boring, to be quite honest, you know? He kind of elevates the people around him to be better. And you can notice it when he's not with them. Because, yes, I do like Paul Rudd, and I do like Steve Carell and Dave Kochner. Kochner? I don't know which one. But none of them are leads in the movie, and they are definitely one-note characters. You know, you got Paul Rudd, ladies' man, and then Steve's character.
I'm Brick Tamlin, and I'm what some people call mentally...
Yeah, that may not have aged as well as they thought it would. David's character, he has a running gag that he's gay for Ron Burgundy, which I kind of like, and then he just kind of breaks down crying.
Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
I find that as a funny moment, you know, that you can definitely miss if you're not, like, paying attention very clearly to it. It's kind of a subtle joke. Now, who am I forgetting? Sarah Marshall? No, that's not till later. Oh yeah, Christina Applegate, the woman. That's her character. We did it, people. We did it. Inclusivity, we nailed it. We just smacked her right into the story, and boom, diversity. Now, I don't hate her, per se, but she is definitely the most one-note character. She is a career-obsessed woman who's trying to advance in her career, but can't because it's the 1970s and she has boobies.
Women ask me how I put up with it. Well, the truth is, I don't really have a choice. This is definitely a man's world. But while they're laughing and grab-assing, I'm chasing down leads and practicing my non-regional diction. Because the only way to win is to be the best. The very best.
Where? I don't want to fucking hear.
Now, she often becomes the butt of a joke, but then her only jokes in this movie are just quick little remarks to the other leads, you know, side characters, Paul Rudd, Ron Burgundy, all those people. But they're just kind of like, you're not meant to, like, laugh at them because it's just, they're just insults, you know, but, like, they're not, like, the most clever insults. They don't really give her much to do. She ends up basically becoming, like, the villain of the story when she gets Ron fired, but, like, 10 minutes later, maybe 15, we're meant to forgive her because Ron's in love. Sure, 10 minutes in the movie, she destroys his life, he loses everything, all his friends, all of San Diego turns against him, and his life's a mess. But then, hey, it's okay, I'm in love, man. Doesn't matter. Have a quick little makeout sesh, and then we'll mosey on off to worldwide news or whatever it is, I can't even remember. And then call it a day, and that's the movie, that's a wrap. Now look, comedy is very hard to judge. It is definitely the most subjective medium in all of entertainment, which is true, but there is definitely a difference between good and bad comedy. And overall, I think this is just like straight down the middle. There's some good jokes in there, and then there's just like okay jokes, and just like you're not even gonna remember them. You most likely will only remember the scenes from this movie that are the most iconic. The flute, the sex, the duel. You know, not too much all around. It's definitely just fluff, they're light stories, and that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of in the next movies after this. So it's hard to give a ranking of this movie, you know, and for all of these movies, because it's definitely, they're meant to make you laugh. But if that's what I judge it by, then it gets messy, because what I find funny, other people won't find funny, and vice versa. So I'm thinking maybe a 6 out of 10 for this movie, you know, just like a little above average. Not the best movie, not the worst movie, definitely a one and done, you know, an airplane movie, or just like, got just a little background noise. Perfectly fine, totally acceptable. Now, having watched Anchorman, it's definitely a by-the-books comedy, nothing too exciting, but frankly, if that's the low of this list, because the movies from here are only more iconic than Anchorman, to be perfectly honest, I think I can live with that. So I'm kind of excited. So what do we have to watch next? The 40-year-old incel, or should I say simp cell. Before we begin this, I just want to point out, they tried making this room look uncool, but they failed. I mean, bro has got racks on racks on racks of Funko Pop's toys. Just everything a little Melvin would desire. And also, I'm just curious, why does he tuck his pant leg into his sock for the bicycle? It doesn't matter. I'm just personally curious about it, because I don't know the answer. I'm sure I could look it up on Google, but I don't wanna. I have to watch The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Okay, with that taken care of, on to the movie. It fucking blows. I hate it. I don't like it. If you love it, keep loving it. But I'm sorry, you must have been dropped as a child. Now, the first thing about this movie that I don't like, and granted, it was an Anchorman, and it's in all of these movies, but it's the most egregious in this one, where every bit keeps going. It's like the improv thing, you know, you just keep shooting back and forth. You laugh when you're in the room and it's happening live right in front of you, but when you put it on camera and then just let it drag out and it just keeps going and going and going and going, it gets boring, it gets monotonous. Just like this segment right here. They just don't know when to cut it, and by the time they cut it, I'm just put in a bad mood. I'm like, and that is the problem with this movie for me. It just puts me in a bad mood. It does everything I don't like in comedy. It's just the overly long bits of improv. It's just way too much vulgarity, where it's just like noise. It's not funny. It's just like, okay, calm down, relax. For example, we get 3 of these things I'm talking about in a row. First with the fucking a horse show with Seth Rogen, and then Paul Rudd going on about the music on the TV, and then the Indian guy, I can't remember, with the other salesman, and it's just like stealing clients, and then they just keep going back and forth, and it just goes like, oh, we're cool, we're chill. You still covering me you still covering up for me on Friday? Yeah, man, it's pretty good. All right, peace. The fuck?
She was unattended because I went to the back to get the brochure that she requested.
I apologize, but it's too late. The transaction has been completed.
Well, then you're gonna give me half the commission. You still covering my shift on Friday or what?
If I can keep this commission, with pleasure.
Coolin'. All right, Pop.
No problem.
And through this whole movie, I'm just begging, I'm pleading them to stop and move on and get to the point of the movie. When is the inciting incident finally going to begin? And it happens 30 minutes in, and it's like, I thought I was an hour in. Now, the whole movie, as you probably know and can assume by the title of it, 40-Year-Old Virgin, it is mostly sex jokes. I have no problem with it, but it's just kind of the only joke they got. Like, it's just vulgar and then sex joke. So I'm just kind of like sitting there, I'm just like, alright, I got it. Post-production Eli here, just wanted to add real quick and explain myself. The reason I don't like the sex jokes is because that's the only joke they make in the movie. It's sex joke after sex joke, and there's no, like, breaks in between any of them. So it's just really tiring, and I just get bored of it. So they really need variety in order to keep me engaged, and that's it. Because frankly, the best jokes in this movie aren't the sex jokes. Jonah Hill not understanding how the we sell your stuff on eBay store works. I like that scene. It drags a little bit, but I like it.
I don't get it. I'm just trying to get these shoes back to my house so I can wear them.
When he's dancing at the end, that whole choreographed, like, music video, basically, at the end of the movie, love that. Though I will say the best sex joke in this movie is when he's masturbating, and he can't even go through with that, so he just puts on a sitcom and then he just falls asleep. That was pretty good. I like that. Good job, movie. You made me chuckle one time. 3 times. Okay, 4. Sue me. The other part I like, which is the only other part other than the masturbation scene and the end of the movie, because I'm like, oh, it's over, thank God, I'm saved, is the drunk driving scene. Like that joke, it's pretty funny, I enjoy it, it's the most insane this movie gets, on a technical standpoint, and I just like it. It was wacky, it was absurd, it was more in line with what I find funny, so that biased, but still, I think it's one of the better jokes and sequences of this movie. And whatever they used for the vomit, good on you. That looked putrid. I didn't like looking at it. That's one of the worst fake vomit I've seen, honestly. I hated looking at it. This movie just ends up being a cycle, you know? Just Steve Carell just like, can't get woman. I don't know how to hit on him. And then the 4 other dudes just like, yeah, I got a method. And then he tries it, he fumbles the bag, and then it's just like, goes to the next guy. Alright, that dude, his opinion, it sucks. I'm the real man. I get the most pussy in this group. So here's what you're gonna do. He fumbles the bag again. And then he goes to the next guy. It's just like, that guy, he can't get nothing, dude. Watch this. Fumbles the bag again, and then it just keeps, it's the cycle. It's the never-ending cycle of fumbling bags, can't get no bitches. Now that is where most of the jokes come in. It's Steve Carell being a dumb nerd who doesn't know how to get chicks. This movie, in my opinion, is a funny premise. I think it could have been a great movie, but it's just the way they did it, it just doesn't work. I don't think anymore. I mean, maybe if I saw this in the 2000s when we were at the height of this type of comedy, I probably would have loved it. It just now, it doesn't line up with the rest. There's far better. There's just simply so much better movies you can watch before this movie came out and after this movie came out. Now, to go back to my point of all of these movies having very loose plots, and I mean very loose, the developments of this movie are very spread out. The first development, the inciting incident that gets the ball rolling of the story, happens at 10 minutes. Alright, perfect. Average time for an inciting incident, get the plot going, you know? And then we go on our merry way. The next development happens an hour later, when he starts dating the girl from We Sell Your Stuff on eBay store. Okay, an hour for another story beat to happen? That's a long time. And then, when's the next one? At the 2-hour mark, he tells her, I'm a virgin. And then they get married, they fuck, and they fuck off. The movie's over. It's done. There's 3 developments. And then the movie's over. And it takes like an hour to get to each. Like, holy shit. That is not okay. I just thought of this now. I realize why I don't like this movie. This is the bad version of Crazy Stupid Love. Now hear me out. Steve Carell gets a divorce or is a virgin. Doesn't have a woman in his life. Then a man has to come in and teach him how to pick up women. But the difference between Crazy Stupid Love and this movie is that Crazy Stupid Love has a very heart-wrenching story behind it that makes me care about the characters. So then all the jokes they tell, I laugh at them because I care about the characters, and they're just much stronger jokes in general anyway, including the sex jokes. So yeah, if you want to watch a movie about Steve Carell not knowing how to get women, then watch Crazy Stupid Love. It's a great old time. Highly recommend. This movie, 2 out of 10. Sue me. Okay, well that was disappointing. But if you enjoy that movie, please by all means keep enjoying the movie. I don't want to hinder your experience of the movie. If it is truly one of your comfort films, keep watching it. I want you to have the best time that you can have. But I didn't like it, so I'm not ever going to watch that again. And I just realized I didn't even talk about the wax scene. So I guess I'm going to do that really quickly. It's fine. It's just like 2000s like references I don't understand, so I don't find it funny. I'm hoping for a much better movie this time. So, we have Talladega Nights.
Do you want to see what's going on here?
Don't you stick that knife in your leg.
Ricky, control your heart rate.
It's shaking back time.
I'm Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew Big Red, then you.
Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. This is one of 2 movies I have seen before this video. I've seen this one, Superbad. That's it. I haven't seen any of these other movies. These are all my first time. All of these movies are the first time ever watching them. First time ever watching 40-Year-Old Virgin. First time watching Anchorman. I was just like doing a checklist basically of movies I haven't watched. So, I have bias with this movie, to be perfectly honest. You know, it was the movie that I grew up with. You know, just like sleepovers at my friend's house, you know. What's the movie we put on? Talladega Nights, baby. You know, get a couple of Madden games going before it hits midnight. Put on Talladega Nights. We're out like lights. It's just what we did. Once again, Adam McKay is back at the helm of director. This is his best movie yet. It takes everything about Anchorman, trims the fat, and just makes chef's kiss. Excellent movie. Ricky Bobby is just a so much better character than Ron Burgundy, to be quite frank, and John C. Reilly, opposite of him, just elevates Will Ferrell so much higher than all of the rest from Anchorman. I mean, there's a reason why they are one of the most iconic comedy duos in movies. And it goes to show why they would make more movies with these two at the lead, because they just elevate each other so much.
From now on, it's Magic Man and El Diablo.
What's Diablo mean?
It's like Spanish for like a fighting chicken.
That's awesome.
I know.
But, once again, like in Anchorman and 40-Year-Old Virgin, this movie does succumb to, although very, very few, improv scenes. The most notable scene being the dinner scene with little baby Jesus. Why are you calling him little baby Jesus? Because I want to picture him as a little baby. Duh, bitch.
Jesus did grow up. You don't always have to call him baby. It's a bit odd and off-putting to pray to a baby.
Well, look, I like the Christmas Jesus best, and I'm saying grace. When you say grace, you can say it to grown-up Jesus or teenage Jesus or bearded Jesus or whoever you want.
Look, I like the baby version the best. Do you hear me? I win the races and I get the money.
I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt.
Now, I like improv. Anytime I see it live, it's great. But for a movie, it's not great. I want it to burn in hell and never come out. Please stop. Hollywood, if you somehow get a hold of this tape, please stop doing it. It's not fun. You just don't know when to cut it. Please. I beg of you. And then the only other time it happens in my memory is the crepe scene in the bar. Cut it. If you cut that scene, you wouldn't lose anything about the movie. It'd be better than what we have now.
I love really thin pancakes. That is a fair compromise, no?
That is a fair compromise.
It's very fair, actually.
Okay.
No, because then everyone won't know I really meant crepes.
That's actually a pretty good compromise right there.
Why do you want me to break your arm so badly?
You don't understand? You don't understand because you don't understand liberty. You don't understand freedom. So you put a crack in my arm like the crack in the Liberty Bell. You hear me?
As you wish.
Like, I don't need a long-ass scene of Sacha Baron Cohen on top of Will Ferrell saying, "Do you like crepes?" Yeah, I like crepes. Then can you say you like crepes? No, because I'm American. Then I break your arm. And aside from those two scenes, this movie, in my mind, is basically perfect. It's just such a fun time. I mean, you probably know this by now, but Christopher Nolan, he likes this movie.
Talladega Nights, I'm never going to be able to switch that off.
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby is a Christopher Nolan mic drop movie. Is that what you're saying?
If you ain't first, you're last.
Now, granted, again, as I stated before we began with this movie, there is 100% a nostalgic element to this movie for me. I grew up with it. It was pretty much the first movie of the raunchy comedy I ever watched. So, of course, I have nostalgic value to it. But even if I take that out, this movie is just really a great time, you know? The characters are just so, like, ecstatic and, like, goofy, where it's just like, you can't have a bad time watching Ricky Bobby. Like, he's just, like, such a fun guy. Like, I don't know what you want from a movie. Like, this is what you have to do to your characters. You have to make them, like, really likable and just, like, fun to be around. So by the time that they fall off the height that they were at, you feel bad for them. You feel sorry for them. And then it feels so much grander when they finally get back on top and they're even better than they were before. This movie actually has a character arc for Ricky Bobby. You can't say that about Ron Burgundy. You can't say that about Steve Carell in 40-Year-Old Virgin. I already forgot his name, so don't ask me. Ricky Bobby grows as a person. And what more could you ask for in a movie? Character growth, that's what makes this movie so great. And frankly, I like this movie too much. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it for you, because even the small moments are good in this movie. There are a couple of lows and a couple of duds, but not every joke in a movie can be perfect or, like, good. But overall, the ratio from good to bad is much better than the other two movies we've seen prior. So, just watch this movie. Have a great time. Watch it with friends, get drunk, I don't know, if you can, legally. Only do it legally. Just have a great time, alright? I give this movie an 8 out of 10. I love it. Love it to pieces. Now that movie was pretty good. We got our shake and bake action, baby. Shake and bake, shake and bake. Big Red, yup. NASCAR, baby. It was good. I like the movie, as you can clearly tell. Big old smile on this guy's face now. So what do we got next?
Big, fat, curly-headed fuck.
I want you out of my fucking house.
We have the fucking Catalina wine mixer, baby. That's what we got next. We got Step Brothers. Now, to shock all of you, I have not seen this movie. I know. I would like to say I have seen 75% of this movie out of order on television. It's like the Grown Ups 2 effect, basically. It's like always on TV. So anytime I go downstairs and like my dad's watching TV, Step Brothers might be on, frankly. If it's not football season, more than likely it's what he's watching, because it's just good background noise. Like, he'll be on his laptop and then he'll just have that on the TV. So I have probably seen, I want to say 75% of this movie, but not in order. So I don't know how the story goes. I don't know really what it's about. I've just seen the jokes, and what I've seen of the jokes, well, let's just watch the movie and find out. Now, I know technically this isn't the next movie chronologically in time, but since they're so similar, I thought it'd be best just to put them together. So, now having seen the movie, hot take, I don't really like it. Now you may be wagging your head at me, shaking your fist in the air. Eli, why don't you like Step Brothers? Out of all the movies in this whole series, it's probably the best one. How can you like Talladega Nights more than Step Brothers? Simple. Talladega Nights is funny, and I like the characters. I don't like two grown men acting like children for fucking 2 hours. And that's the main problem I have with this movie. I don't like the characters. I just kind of find them annoying, to be quite honest. You know, they're man babies. They're 40-year-olds pretending to be 12-year-olds. And it's not like they're voicing 12-year-olds, because that might actually be funnier, honestly. It might add a little something to it. But they're not. They're actually just Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. So it's just kind of like, okay. Alright. Okay. But since they act so childish, they just come off as annoying to me, where I'm like, can you stop talking now, please? Like, quit your whining, you're 40. Stop. What are you doing? And now, granted, it's the point, but the premise just clearly isn't for me. I don't like it as much. It's not as out there as Talladega Nights. Hell, it's not even as out there as Anchorman is. So, I don't know, it just kind of falls flat. And yet, when you think Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly movies, you're gonna think of this one. Hell, it probably has the most iconic poster of all the movies we're gonna watch today. Except, the only ones on par with it are probably Superbad and 40-Year-Old Virgin, because they're Superbad and 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like, that's probably the holy trinity of all of these movies, to be quite honest. If, like, you think Judd Apatow, these are the 3 movies you're more likely going to think about. And like any comedy, you're more likely going to judge it on quotability. And Step Brothers is quotable as fuck. It is insane how many people quote this movie every day. Like, there are whole TikTok trends just reciting whole scenes from this movie. Licking white dog shit. Curly-headed fuck. It is amazing. And I think that's also another problem. There's no shock value. Before, I have not seen all of this movie. I had never seen the white dog shit scene. To be quite honest. I had never seen the curly-headed fuck scene. I had never seen the putting the testicles on the drum set scene. In actuality, I've seen the audio from TikTok trends. And I think that is also another problem with this movie. All the best jokes, I already knew the punchline to. So I didn't laugh at them, just like, oh, that's where that one's from. I couldn't appreciate it anymore. It got too big, and I was just like, oh, there's that joke. I know that joke from TikTok. Okay, that's where that comes from. And that was basically my experience with this movie. So it's conflicting, you know? Like, on the one hand, I don't really like it. Overall, I find the movie boring. Like, they're man babies and then they become adults. Because when you're not in those big quotable scenes that everyone knows, it's just kind of boring. It's just like, you're kind of waiting to get to the next scene that you know is coming. But you know the joke, so it just isn't as funny anymore. And because this movie is constantly being fed to me and quoted to me and thrown in my face, I'm just like, I know where that joke is from, yeah. Yeah, I know that, yeah. The Catalina wine mixer has definitely stood the test of time. I think it's definitely the best scene in the movie. It's the most chaotic. They do the pacing of jokes correctly, where they save the best spectacle for last, which I'm very thankful for. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Step Brothers. Honestly, I'm feeling like a 6 out of 10 for this movie. It's just, it doesn't hit as hard anymore. It's hard to watch the movie and laugh at it, because it's just like, it was just too quotable. I just couldn't get as much enjoyment out of the movie. It kind of ruined it, to be honest. Please don't come after me for my hot take. Like, I'm just trying to give an honest opinion to you, but again, if you like the movie, keep enjoying the movie. It's just, it wasn't for me. It's just plain and simple, wasn't for me. We're gonna move on to our next movie, Walk Hard, another movie I have not seen. And frankly, out of all the movies in this, I know nothing about. I've never heard a joke from it. I've never seen a scene of it. I didn't know this movie existed, frankly, until I started looking up the most iconic, and all of a sudden I just find the secret cult of Walk Hard diehards. We're walking hard now. We're gonna walk hard. I think I just got the joke of the title. That's pretty good. Now, having watched the movie, do I like it? I think I do. I think I'm gonna start walking hard. Now, this movie is a parody of the music biopic. You know, at the time, there was Ray, that one, and that one. I've already forgotten the names, and it's not in my script, so I'm just an idiot. I don't know why I forgot to put them. So it follows the fictional life of Dewey Cox, the greatest musician to ever live. We go through his ups and downs, his rise to fame, his crash and burn when he finally discovers drugs and marijuana and Percocets and acid and heroin and everything that a rock star might do. We have the family member dying / leaving. We have the producer warming up to the music saying, hey, this guy's pretty good. We have everything you would ever want in a music biopic, and it makes fun of all of those aspects very well. There is no stone unturned when it comes to this movie and making fun of music biopics. It does a very thorough job, going through the montages of tour, your rehab, your wife leaving you, your second wife loving you and staying with you till the very end. And I don't want to keep rambling about this, because I need to know more about this movie. And I found a very good video by Patrick H. Willem that basically breaks the movie down much better than I ever could, or any of these movies. So watch that video if you're interested about the intricacies and how well it breaks down the formula of the music biopic, because he does it much better than I could ever do. This is the movie I knew least about, and frankly, it's the movie I don't have much to say about, to be quite honest, because it's a parody, you know? It's just like, you kind of have to know the source material of, like, music biopics to, like, not understand the jokes, but, like, you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of it if you see what they're making fun of. Like, this is 100% a parody movie, and if you don't believe that, then I'm sorry, you're dead wrong. Now, there are some moments that I gotta say, it was a bit too much noise, where I was just like, hey, we can cut this one. This is not, and I'm not talking about the improv scenes. There's just a couple of jokes where I'm just like, okay, I get it. You're the famous guy. It's a little on the nose. I mean, the Beatles scene, you've probably all seen that one on TikTok. God, there are so many of these clips I'm seeing on TikTok before this movie, and I didn't even know it was this. Okay. The actual example I'm thinking of is the Buddy Holly scene.
Oh, thanks, Buddy Holly.
If you don't, I'll pick it right back up. You got nothing to worry about.
Oh, thank you. Man, I'm awful nervous, Buddy Holly.
Dewey, you'll be fine, or my name's not Buddy Holly.
I'm smarter than you think I am, movie. Okay, you don't have to spoon feed me it. I can put the two pieces together. All in all, this is definitely the most absurd of these movies. It's the most out there. I mean, you're following the life of a rock star. So the the highs are definitely a lot fucking higher than the rest. I mean, you have a moment where they fucking parody Yellow Submarine the movie. And, like, what the fuck, okay? Like, who thought of that? Like, I get you're with the Beatles, but, like, what the fuck? Like, so you definitely get moments like that. So, honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10. But maybe a 5 out of 10, because I did not need to see that guy's penis. Stop. We've watched 5 movies now, and frankly, I'm tired. I don't think having a video that's like 2 hours long for Judd Apatow movies is very interesting. You might be interested in it, but I don't think anyone would watch that all the way. So I'm gonna split this up into 2 parts. Although I did see some movies I liked, most of them I didn't, or I just thought were okay. They're hard to watch sometimes, because when you watch 10 movies made by the same people in a row, you get tired of it, and I'm tired now, and I want to go to bed. So, like I said, this video will be 2 parts now. I'll try to get the second part out as soon as possible, because I want to be out of this hell as well. I don't want to have to experience any more. So, I'm going to try to get that as soon as possible, so I can work on another video and save my sanity, because this isn't fun anymore, and I'm realizing that. So, don't forget to like the video, comment on the video, subscribe maybe, ? And share it. If you enjoy it, share the video. Friends, family, I don't really care. Yeah. I think that's it. So, until next time, goodbye.